Hello and welcome to Grand Prix Richmond coverage. It's round 13. I'm Brian Marshall, joined in the booth by Eduardo Sajgalik, and we are watching Baker Neenan playing blue-black God Pharaoh's Gift. He's up against mono red, Flame of Keld red, a deck we have not seen a lot this weekend. And then you see the practice hand of Victor Nicholas putting the Bomet Courier into play with the card sliding quickly under it. Baker Neenan, by the way, he's playing in only his second ever Grand Prix. He made day 2 in his first one, but went 8-5 and dropped. Victor, on the other hand, he's played in several GPs. He's from the Dominican Republic and has gone X and 3.
By the way, you see here with Baker playing Minister of Inquiries, White Bomat Courier saw some legacy, played but not too much while Left Right Shaman was there. You don't really want to kill a 1-2, and the 1-1 is not equipped really to fight through, but a shock would be pretty timely here. Otherwise, just to explain kind of both decks, while we see a shock indeed, take out the Minister of Inquiries. Blue-Black God Pharaoh's Gift uses the power of kind of these value blue-black creatures to try and fill the graveyard slowly and try to get that magic 6 creatures, then gate to the Afterlife, can work, get God Pharaoh's Gift to reanimate these value creatures as 4-4 and take over the game. The best creature to reanimate being Angel of Invention, 4-4 lifelinker or 6-6 lifelinker with haste, vigilance, pumping your team. Yeah.
That's a card that's going to be crucial for Baker in this matchup against Mono Red. And as you pointed out earlier, it's going to be almost impossible for him to ever cast that card. He really is relying on the graveyard interaction.
Right. Here takes the Flame of Keld automatically. With Earthshaker Kenra in Victor's hand, probably going to be cast next turn to make the Freebooter not block.
And a fresh hand possibly in the offering for Nicholas here.
Oh, wow, that shock is incredible. Allows Nicholas to essentially kill the Freebooter, deal an extra point of damage with the Soulscar Mage, and get back Flame of Keld to reload the hand with a Bomat Courier at free cards. This is a really great position for Victor here. Excellent top deck here.
Yeah, terrible spot for the blue-black deck to be in.
Although it seems Baker has access to a Fatal Push. I might be mistaken on that. But yeah, in the meantime, Baker is essentially trying to fill the graveyard, and the fact that Minister of Inquiries, Kudstill Freebooter died without any value from Gate, without the ability to mill, has put Baker in a really tough spot. One of the cards in this blue-black deck is Trophy Mage. You just want additional copies of Gate, and that's what Trophy Mage does. It's a creature that allows you to get there. A matchup like this usually favors the Flame of Keld red deck because it's so fast. It's really hard for the blue-black God Pharaoh's Gift deck to kind of build itself up in time, and there's not enough removal usually to deal with the pressure on board. And if you're unfamiliar with Flame of Keld red, Soulscar Mage, Gitu Lava Runner, wizards that make Wizard's Lightning cheap. From there you have Wizard's Lightning Strike, Shock, and you're trying to just be as aggressive and low to the ground as possible.
Here we see a Gate to the Afterlife from Baker Neenan.
So you play Gate first here over Trophy Mage. Right, and this is a really cool interaction with the deck. You can play Walking Ballista with a Gate out, and essentially it turns Walking Ballista into kind of, if you remember, Insolent Neonate. Well, you draw and discard, but essentially it's gain 1 life, draw and discard a card. And having multiple Walking Ballistas is a way with a Gate to turbo out that God Pharaoh's Gift.
So there you see 4 creatures in the graveyard now.
Yeah, magical number 6.
But he is going to be up against it here. Here's another Soulscar Mage. Now we're going to see Flame of Keld.
Yeah, Victor is extremely far ahead here. This is going to be 5 damage, and the Bomat Courier has 4 cards. So there's going to be 4 cards. Flame of Keld is going to draw you 2 more, up to 6, up to 7 with the draw step, and when Flame of Keld kind of ultimates, goes to 8 cards, you go to 8 cards, and all of your red spells deal 2 extra. All of your red sources deal 2 extra damage, and I don't think Baker's coming back here.
Yeah, here's a land for Baker, and that looks like he is not going to be able to find a way out from this. There you get a look at Flame of Keld. Chapter 1, discard your hand. Most Magic players sign out right here. They put the book down right at chapter 1. They're like, I don't want to read anymore. They're like, did you read the second chapter? Draw 2 cards.
Yeah, and
it's
the third
so much better.
Right. And I think Matt, with the release notes for Dominaria, that was the Saga used to explain the rules on Saga. And it was, well, the first chapter is discard your hand. And then he said, don't worry, it gets better, I promise.
And then
okay, we're done.
A pair of lightning strikes.
No. Oh, my.
And Victor, wow. makes short work of Baker. Not the most compelling draw that we've seen from Godfarer's gift deck, but also the targeted removal was really good for Victor there and able to deal with that Minister of Inquiries and able to dispatch that Kite Sail freebooter.
Yeah, and this is, and you can kind of see a preview of how bad a matchup this can be for blue-black. The green versions with Brontodon and Lanarolf have a chance to accelerate out these powerful threats, so the Flame of Kel red deck has to kill a Lanarolf. If it doesn't, and that gives you time in one way or another, and you can develop Thrashing Brontodon as a free 4 is a huge body, and those decks also have free Aethersphere Harvester. Baker does not have the card. Most of Baker's sideboard is designed for control matchups. 4 Glint Sleeve Siphoner, 2 Jace's Defeat, Negate, Doomfall. These are not cards.
Right.
Like Ruin Raider, these are not cards coming in. Really, what Baker can side in, 1 Cast Down, 2 Vraska's Contempt are okay, and the 1 Fatal Push, but I mean, you can board in Siphoner as a blocker, but that's pretty weak in the face of a deck that plays Goblin Chain Whirler.
Here you see Victor consulting his sideboard notes. What's he thinking about here from his sideboard?
Well, that's an interest. Yeah, the sideboard notes for blue-black Godfarrow's Gift may be
scant.
Scant. So there's a few cards. I guess you could play Insult Injury Mountain, Hazret the Fervent. I think all of these cards are not really what you want. Cut Ribbons, probably also not what you want. You honestly, even with the free Abrades, the thing with Abrade is one of the... It's actually a really complicated concept. A discussion I've had with a lot of top players about playing against the Godfarrow's Gift decks is that Abrade is not always a card you want. You want to fight them on different axes. Like, it looks incredible, right? They like put all these resources, get a Godfarrow's Gift, and Abrade is not necessarily the best card. I was wondering why, and they were, well, you're not putting on pressure on top, because that was coming from the black-red mid-range part. Now, Victor's case, very aggressive. So Abrade acting as a Time Walk is an extremely powerful effect. So we're going to see probably Victor board in the free Abrades to keep piling on the pressure and make sure that Baker's best chance, which is to get a quick Godfarrow's Gift, is taken out. I guess the free Abrades would come in. Something like Vash, Pyromancer is pretty weak. It's a 2-1 body, very bad against a deck that has a bunch of 1-2s, 1-1s, Walking Ballistas. So I would see 3 of those Pyromancers come out for free Abrades. Maybe Chandra, because it's hard to deal with. Something like that. A Chandra and free Abrades for those 4 Pyromancers. On Baker's side, you have Cast Down, Fatal Push. I'd like to say more cards. I guess 2 Vraska's Contempt. And those will probably replace the Trophy Mages because they're too slow. And then after that, it gets a little harder. There's not much that Baker can then remove. I guess you can remove a Champion of Wits. While a powerful card, it does suffer from the fact that it is an X1 creature. It doesn't block very well, and having too many may limit your options. I don't think I would board in. To be honest, I think actually I wouldn't board in Vraska's Contempt. I would try to stay low to the ground. As unfavorable as your Game 1 matchup is, the truth is you can't really morph that much, and if Baker decided to keep the sideboard this way, I mean, the plan was probably to dodge these Flame of Kel decks, and yeah, unfortunately for Baker, this is not a good pairing.
Now again, these players are just turning attention to their records for a second instead of their sideboards. X and 2, so really playing to put themselves in a position to win, the next this round, next round, and then maybe able to draw into the top 8. Players come to Grand Prix for a lot of different reasons, chasing a lot of different things. Victor is here accompanying a friend, Jose Alvarez from the Dominican Republic. Jose Alvarez was looking to get 1 more point to get to bronze, right?
Wow. Cool.
Everybody has all these different levels that they want to get to. Jose looking to get to bronze. So where's Jose this round? Table 1, playing against Oliver 2.
Wow, so he's going to definitely get that 1 point for bronze.
And we'll see where he can take it. We'll have to check in with Jose Alvarez because came here from the Dominican Republic for this Grand Prix and having a great weekend. Yeah,
that's an excellent story. Both of them came together, and both of them with excellent records. Do we know if they're on the same deck or?
I don't know about that at all.
Well, we can find out though.
Yeah, we will find that out. But Victor Nicholas, also in a great position if he can win, a couple more matches, maybe even earn an invite to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, then he would also have bronze, but by virtue of because that's the best about this bronze status. If you have a Grand Prix top 8 plus that Pro Tour invite, it gets a lot easier to get there, and that gives you an easier chance to come back onto the tour, right? Those RPDQ invites being really key.
Yeah, by the way, can we talk for a second? I mentioned Oliver, too, on table 1. 12-0, playing, possible that he could lose his way into the top 8, which would be his 6th top 8 this season.
That's just insane.
Utterly insane.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we are going to get underway here.
Yeah.
Does Baker Neenan like his 7 cards?
And don't worry for Oliver 2 fans, while not in the feature match this round, we're definitely going to see him later in the tournament. And that, that's
near certain that we will see him in the top 8.
Yeah. And if not, we will see him playing for top 8.
Yeah, for sure.
Oliver will come back.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Oliver's decks. He played blue-white control, played blue-black control. He also has a team top 8 this season where he played that blue-white control deck in Standard. So this is his 3rd deep run with that deck at a Grand Prix.
Yeah, I mean, Oliver is just an impressive constructive player.
So good, they invited him to play at the World Championship for it.
He top 4'd that one, right?
Yes.
Is that like a new thing?
I think if I had a list of things that disappointed me the most in my life, it was missing the World Championship. That was probably on tiebreakers. Yeah. That remains to me the most. I had a more painful memory in Magic before, and that superseded it quite clearly. But it's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a zero-sum game, right? Like, somebody else has to make it in. Oh
boy. Baker Neenan. He's going down to 5 cards here against this Flame of Kelt red deck.
Yeah, and the thing with combo decks is there's a difference between combo decks that mulligan well and don't. So combo decks that mulligan well are usually those that are looking for 2-card combos, so something like Splinter Twin of old, or even Hazred and 4 Mountains, right? Those combo decks, they mulligan well. But the Blue-Black Godfarer's Gift deck is a critical mass deck. It needs a lot of different moving pieces to work, so mulliganing to 5 is very damaging to that deck, and it's a deck with which you ideally do not want to mulligan.
And as we saw in Game 1, a lot of those pieces pretty fragile against a deck with targeted removal. Minister of Inquiries, very susceptible to a whole range of cards from Victor's deck.
Yeah, I would say the 1-mana spells are very good to fight there. I think if Victor's Lightning Striking a Minister of Inquiries, that's kind of a victory. But yeah, here we see.
All right, he's found 5 he can work with. He's going to keep a card on top. Let's see what happens here in Game 2. All right, there's a Gitu Lava Runner. We are playing Standard.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Wow, only 1 more land in hand. The Abrades did come in as you predicted. You see a Soul Scar Mage, you see an Earthshaker Kenra, a Lightning Strike, a Flame of Keld. This is a tough one. What do you take here?
There's a lot of redundancy. This is actually quite rough. Because I believe Baker has a Hostage Taker, and that card is quite weak to both. I mean, I think taking the Lightning Strike means that if it was the right pick, if Victor wants to get it back, the only card to allow him to do so is to use that Abrade on Kitesail Freebooter, and you're kind of happy if Victor has to waste an Abrade in a spot like this.
But no rush for that right now. He's able to attack him for 3 with that Earthshaker Kenra, rendering the Kitesail Freebooter unable to block.
Right.
And there is another land for Baker Neenan. You see, it looks like he's got the Gate to the Afterlife in his hand.
Yeah, and this is a rough spot. Like, you could pass to kind of try to get the Gate going, but you're so low on cards that even trying to activate it is going to be really hard. So you got to ask yourself the question, is it even worth holding it? Especially if you have Hostage Taker. If Victor uses the Abrade on the Gate and you can bait it out, then the Hostage Taker can maybe change the situation. You do need card advantage, and the Hostage Taker taking even the Gitu Lava Runner might be what you need to do.
Well, he is going to run out the Gate, though. Say, okay, what do you want to Abrade? My creature and get your Lightning Strike back, or do you want to Abrade my Gate to the Afterlife?
Yeah, and here...
It's like, well, maybe you'll block and I'll get both.
Yeah. This would have been an interesting block, trying to dig deeper through the deck, since Victor would probably wanted to have abraded the Gate in that exact spot, and then the Hostage Taker might have been free. But the Lightning Strike would come back. So yeah, you see the Abrade here.
So Soul Scar Mage, and then Lightning Strike, Abrade.
Oh wow, was that a Walking Ballista? Because that would be an exceptional draw here. The Walking Ballista right now conveniently blocking Lava Runner, Soulscar Mage, and able to deal with Earthshaker Kenra. Even Hostage Taker, actually. Just the fact that it's a 2 free body. I would say probably Hostage Taker taking something like Soulscar Mage is pretty powerful here.
Do. He's like, am I feeling saucy enough to attack here? No, not quite saucy. Not quite that saucy.
There's definitely times when you want to be aggressive, and getting chip damage in is correct. Because you're not... This isn't the green version with Verdra's Gearhulk that can kind of put a lot of damage out of nowhere. So once you realize that you don't really have much potential for tons of damage, it's better to not bother with the chip damage, just make sure you give yourself the best chance.
So here you see Flame of Keld is the last card played out of Victor's hand. He skips over that first chapter entirely. He's like, I want to start reading the second chapter. I would like to draw 2 cards.
Right. Baker, like, immediately putting that Soulscar Mage in play. Soulscar Mage and Walking Ballista is a nice combo, by the way. Oh, whoa. Yeah. The army of 1/2s. They're actually good enough here. Decides to play Ballista for 1, since Baker could have tapped 4 mana next turn anyways to play it for 2. So you might as well play it for 1 and add a counter later if you decide to do so, while having the option to use it.
So from a 5-card hand, Baker, is stabilized pretty well, but Victor's going to draw 2 cards this turn, and then a turn after that is going to be able to just wreak havoc with extra damage.
Yeah, this is really going to come down to the cards that Victor draws. I would say that Minister Inquiries was really a card that Baker needed. Baker needs that critical mass of creatures, and Minister is going to help that in that path, and then Baker needs to top deck as well, get to the Afterlife once you get there.
It does not seem fair to let the red deck draw 3 cards in 1 turn.
Yeah, what is this nonsense? I mean, Bedlam Reveler is modern only, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty close to Bedlam Reveler in a way.
Right, discard your hand, draw.
It just takes 2 chapters.
Wow.
We're in standard, but yeah.
Here's another copy of Earthshaker Kenra. It also means if we get somehow anywhere deep into this game, tons of redundancy for Victor here.
Right. I think here might be a good turn to... because they're going to deal more damage next turn, so you kind of are in a position where you have to block, since they're going to... It's not going to... The problem isn't getting better for you.
Right.
So I kind of... Okay, so we have Hostage Taker... so I guess there was a Kenra there, so Hostage Taker can't block.
Correct.
That means that Soulscar Mage might have to come in, and then you can use Walking Ballista. But I kind of like not blocking with Walking Ballista this turn with the plan to add a counter and be able to get both Kenras. Or just simply... You could do this, though, because the problem is, I guess taking 4 damage is just that bad. So here you would trade 2 and just leave 1 in play. I think that's okay.
Okay. And that's what Baker does. No, that Gitu Lava Runner is not his graveyard. And there is a Viashino Pyromancer, limited all-star, and takes another little chunk out of Baker's life total here.
Oh, wow. And interestingly, by the way, for that Pyromancer, Victor didn't wait on it to deal the extra 2 damage with the enter the battlefield trigger. Simply, the goal was, I know that this is going to deal, 4 damage when it attacks. Oh, wow, and that cut, getting back to Lightning Strike, wow. Glad to draw. At least Baker gets loot, but this is all good for Victor. Also, I like that Viashino Pyromancer is a wizard, so it makes Wizards Lightning more likely to get that good discount and become Lightning Bolt.
So just a Hostage Taker and a Minister of Inquiries for Baker Neenan.
Yeah, and I think here Baker basically has to block. I mean, has to block 2 creatures, but the question is how. The Lava Runner definitely is a 2/2, so it would be as a 4/2. Lightning Strike here will definitely be played. It's just a question of on who. If you target a creature, then Lightning Strike deals 4 damage. And, well, I mean, Baker will gain a life, but Baker's planning to block anyway, so that life is not is not relevant in this discussion. If you target a creature, then Baker essentially takes 4, because 1 additional creature will come through, while going faces 5, so you decide to save Baker 1 point of damage, but they lose a creature. So it's probably worth it to kill a creature here.
Victor's trying to do the math here, working out what he wants to do.
Let's see. I mean, Baker will go to free life with a lightning strike to the face, and go to 4 if it targets a creature, I believe. Let's see. So if you target a creature, Victor attacks for 12, 1 gets blocked, so it's 8 going through, but you gain 2 life. So you go from 10 to 2 to 4.
So he's going to target Minister of Inquiries.
Yeah. So
and Baker's going to activate. He really
we need a
needs
miracle.
to hit some creatures here.
Oh, that is. I mean, those cards would have been
3
dead.
lands.
Those cards would have been dead, but yeah. Well, we're milling an additional card, and you can see the real damage of mulling it to 5. You have less options on this Gate to the Afterlife.
Yeah.
Here, block the Gate to Lava Runner. A top deck Walking Ballista, allowing you to deal with Pyromancer and Earthshaker Kenra.
This is going to put
Baker to 4. The nice part about this, though, from Baker's perspective, is that once Baker goes to 4, the Earthshaker Kenra cannot kill Baker if he top decks a Walking Ballista.
All right, well, the top of the deck is going to be essential here.
Vraska's Contempt. So here, okay, Baker decided to board in the slightly expensive removal spell. But yeah, Baker here passes. If Baker draws a land, he'll go for the 4/4. You exile that, going to 2. Whatever, right. Now you have to get the Earthshaker Kenra.
So he's going to gain 2, lose 2 to the Pyromancer.
Right.
Stays the same. Here's a Soul Scar Mage for Victor. Another turn for
Ooh,
Baker.
Drowned Catacomb is not getting anywhere. This is already free damage, and I don't see many cards that Victor can draw that would mean that Baker's still in. A land works.
Land is Fatal.
Land is Fatal, Burn Spell. I mean, I guess non-haste creature.
Yeah,
but
there's a Gitu Lava Runner, and that is the match. Victor Nicholas goes up to 11-2. Mono red Flame of Keld. We really got to see that card help him rip through his deck here. Saw in both games.
Deal a ton of damage.
Deal a ton of damage. Last card he played each time, so never a detriment on the discard. Good looking deck.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like that deck, secretly very good when everybody's trying to go over the top. You're just trying to go under, and then you're fighting on a different angle. Because Fatal Push is not the best card, say, to fight cards like Rekindling Phoenix or the mid-range threats that people are coming in with, like Pia, even Goblin Chain Whirler. So people start cutting these cards and having contempts for the big stuff. Then you go under, kill them before they get there.
And don't forget, this deck has already won a Grand Prix in Standard this season, so something to keep an eye out for. We've got more Magic coming up for you after this break. Don't go anywhere.